Hello everyone and welcome back. Dom here and thanks so much for stopping by for yet another video. On this video, I'm going to talk about 20, yes you heard it right, 20 reasons why the mix console in Cubase, in my opinion, is the best DAW mixer out there. Now, no. Listen to me. If you're using another DAW, this video is also going to be very relevant for you because many people that I know, many producers that use another DAW because they like the way it works or it has some features that they need like live performance, for example, they still use Cubase to mix, and this is very valid. There are some really good reasons to mix in Cubase. Now, another thing that I want to get out of the way as quickly as possible is that I don't live in a Cubase bubble. I've used pretty much all DAWs out there. I've used them professionally. I've mixed with other DAWs, and I still do. I'm mentioning this because there are quite a few people out there that they've only used one DAW and that's all they use, and they say that this DAW is the best. In my opinion, this is really not good information. Of course, you shouldn't listen to me, you shouldn't listen to anyone, you should try all DAWs and see what works for you. And by the end of this video, you will see that the features that the Cubase Mix Console has are really unique, and for many of them, I haven't seen any other DAW that even comes close. So without any further ado, let's jump into Cubase and let's start. Reason number one is the amazing gain staging options that you have inside the Cubase Mix Console. This is not to be underestimated. Most people cannot get their mixes to sound good because the gain staging is not right. Now, Cubase gives you a very quick way to do your gain staging, to do your filtering very quickly with no plugins. No plugins. I cannot stress this enough. So let me show you how this works. Let's say you want to start a mix and you have quite a few channels, right? The main thing that you want to aim for is for your master bus not to be too hot in terms of levels. A good rule of thumb when you are starting a mix is that your master bus doesn't really go over -12 dB. I would have it around this area, okay? And sometimes you might have very hot signals on your individual channels because you're using software instruments and you have stems from a client that are really hot. So what do? Most people in most DAWs, what they do, check out videos on YouTube, they add a gain plugin on every channel, a filter plugin on every channel as well. See where I'm going? You're already sacrificing 2 insert slots just to do the housekeeping, okay? Check what you can do in Cubase. You go to your pre-section right here. Let me zoom in. By the way, you can zoom in and zoom out. It's completely customizable. Grab all my channels like this, and now I can set up a low cut filter, see? So I'm cutting everything below 70 Hertz, it depends, apart from the kick drum and my bass. Press Alt-Shift to do all channels at once and activate it, deactivate it, and now you can, look at that. How easy is that? That's one of the main reasons why I find it such a pain to mix on other systems. And let's say that we want to change our pre-gain level so that we have a nice starting point. I can go like this, play the... See? I'm hitting more than -12 now. So what I would do is I would go to my pre-gain, check it out, and again, see? And I can get a nice healthy level with lots of headroom to play with. I do this on all channels at once. Just this, saved me at least, if you're fast, 15 minutes of work. Right there, I can do this like that, okay? And of course, I can change the phase. The pre-section is really invaluable. I have no idea why so many other systems don't have this, but it's there, and that was reason number one. Reason number two, metering. Metering is so important when you're mixing. Not only when you're mixing, but also when you're tracking, when you're recording yourself. You know what I'm doing many times? I'm over there just behind the camera. I have 2 synths. So what I do, See that nice meter right there? If I'm playing over there, I can see it from across the room. It's amazing. Now, on a mixing session, you have your faders right here. You can resize them completely, see? And you can see your metering very clearly. The meters are customizable. I've customized mine so that at -12 they change a color, and on -6 I have a different color, and I know where I am. I don't have to be so close at the screen and look at little icons and all these things. You know what I'm talking about. Now, with the meters in Cubase, you have quite a few options. See, we have these nice view meters here as well. But what else can we do? That's extremely cool, and I don't see many people use it. You can change the meters from ppm to wave and check what happens now. Look at that. You know what I mean? I can see what's going on in my project without actually being into the project. See, I go back, I scroll back, all the waveforms update, and I can see exactly what's going on. The other thing that we have is the big meter right in front of the screen. So this one right here, see? Again, when you're mixing, when you're producing, I always have this on so I can see exactly what's going on. And if I don't have it here, I have it on my project. Always there, so I can see if I'm going over, you know. Now, if you're going to upload your stuff on iTunes, Spotify, all these things, another really invaluable thing is the loudness meter right here. And this, basically, the way it works is it gives you the LUFS values that you want. For iTunes, it's -16 LUFS. For Spotify, it's -14 LUFS. These things change. I would take it with a grain of salt, but this helps you get a great idea of what's going on in your mix. So what you need to do is you need to reset and then play your track from the beginning and let it play. See, this is activated. And now this will give us the integrated loudness for our track without any plugin, any external plugin. This is all built in, and you can check it anytime. You don't have to add anything. Ergonomics, that's what I'm trying to say. And I won't even mention that you, of course, have all these scales. You know, Bobcat scale, K20, K14. You know, these are all things that you would have to buy expensive plugins in order to have them into your DAW, and again, you would sacrifice one more slot. Reason number 3, multiple configurable mixers. How many times are you into tracking mode and you're recording yourself, and then you want to go into mixing, and for your recording you want to have your input channels, and for mixing you want to have all the channels in your DAW, and maybe you want to focus maybe on drums or maybe on just the basses. Cubase has 3 mix consoles that you can configure completely differently. In my case, I'm using this main console right here, okay, which has pretty much everything. Then I have my input bus. Let me pull it on the other monitor so you can see. This I always keep on my second monitor, and here I have all my inputs. I have my Kemper, my OB6, my loopback, my Neve, all these things, my AXR inputs, all these things. And this, I can have it, I can keep it in a completely different screen. And then I can have a third mixer where I can configure it to do other things. In this case, I might want to have just the group channels, or maybe just the group channels and the effects channels, and I can focus on exactly what I'm doing. Maybe just the drums, maybe just my synths. So this mixer is separate, this mixer is separate, and my input mixer is separate. So it's so easy to be focused whatever stage of the production you're at. Incredibly useful. I cannot live without this. Reason number 4 is that the mix console is completely resizable and modular. Now, let me show you. G and H, the standard zoom keys for Cubase, they work in the mix console like this. Okay, you can make it super narrow, okay, and super wide if you want to. Very, and see, if I want to focus on some channels, I can see exactly what's going on with my meters. How many DAWs don't have this? Why doesn't every DAW have this, so that you can actually go and see that I'm at -12, I'm hitting -12, you know, all these things. Now, see, right here, it's completely modular. I can close all these things. I have routing, I have the pre section that we talked about, inserts, 16 inserts per channel, by the way, EQ, we have the channel strip with compression, gate, all these things built in, no plugins required, the sense, and the Q sense. So completely modular. If I only want to show a few things, I can say I want to get rid of the channel strip, I want to get rid of the EQs, the pre's, the sense. I can also turn off my meter bridge, and now I only have my beautiful inserts right there. So reason number 5 is the control room. And I won't go into much detail about the control room because I want to make a dedicated video for it. There's a very cool video by my amazing friend Chris Salim. I will link it down below if you want to check out what control room can do for you. But control room is the thing that allows you to have this beautiful master section meter right here. You can also check out your loudness. You can turn up and down your click volume. You can have reference mixes. You can set up different monitors. You can set up your Q sense for your artist. It's really incredible. And again, it's one of the things that I'm missing all the time if I mix in another DAW. Number 6 is the configurable modules. For example, as you can see here, we have our pre's, we have our inserts, we have our EQs, then we also have our channel strip, all these things. Now, look how beautiful. I don't know about you guys, I mean, this is like an objective thing, but for me, this is like, I feel like, you know, this mixer talks business to me. It's not a toy. But one of the things that you can do is you can basically reroute all these modules. Let me take a channel, for example, like this one, this crash, and in this case, as you can see, I have my inserts. Now, sometimes you might want to have your channel strip first in the chain and then your inserts. In this case, and you can configure this like that. So you go to your channel settings, you go move channel strip to pre-inserts position, and now this is pre-inserts, okay? Or you might want to have it the other way around. And for the channel strip, you can move these things around, see? Check, they update there as well. So you can say my EQ, I want it to be after the compressor, or my envelope shaper, I want it to be before the compressor, see? And all these things are completely configurable. Reason number 7 is so important, and this is the Spectral Comparison EQ. And this is one of the things that was introduced in Cubase 10.5. I was so happy when I saw that this was there. What this allows you to do is you can compare the spectrums of 2 channels and EQ without leaving the view ever. In this case, let me see, I'm going to find a kick, see, like that. And let's say I want to make sure that this kick doesn't clash with my bass. Now, check this out. This is how you do it. You open your channel settings, kick, and then you go here. And this long list, I have a very big project here. What can we do? This is actually one of the other reasons. Let's go for bass. Type bass, I found my bass. How quick is that? I go bass, and now I can see both the kick drum and the bass, and I can see if they're clashing. I can go to my bass and I start, you know, tweaking the sound, go back to my kick drum, do the exact opposite so that I have a clean mix like that. You know, I can go like this, go bass, and I can see exactly where those frequencies are clashing. I don't need to say anything else. Incredible feature. If you want to do it in another way, you have to use a plugin like Isotope, and it also works really good, but this is built in, you know? Reason number 8 is the agents function. Now, this is one of the most amazing things that you can find on a mixer in a DAW. Let me show you what the agents are. The agents are right here, channel visibility agents, okay? So when you click on that, you can determine what channels you'll be shown on the mixer. Now, right here, you can have different configurations. So you can say, I want to have all channels, or I only want to have the input channels, boom. Or I only want to have the audio channels, boom. Or I only want to have the instrument channels. In this case, I don't have any, so no boom. Or I only want to have the group channels and the effects channels. And maybe I want to have the VCA faders as well. But it doesn't stop there. You can even say, check that. You can say, right, why don't you show me only the tracks that have data at the cursor position? So where my cursor is, it will only show me the tracks that are playing. How cool is that? I'm honestly excited, guys, you know? Check this out. Boom. At this place of the project, these things are the only tracks that are playing. So I can focus on that because maybe I'm only working in the chorus and I want to see what tracks are playing. Now, if I go a little bit, you know, let's go at the beginning. And I go and do this again. Show channels for tracks with data at the cursor position. See? Just 2 tracks are playing. I don't have to go and scroll between channels and channels and channels in order to find these 2 tracks that are playing at the moment. I can focus on that. Now, if that doesn't make you want to mix in Cubase, I don't know what. I mean, you will spend more time mixing. That's fine. You might like that. I prefer to have a very creative mixing process, and scrolling between hundreds of tracks is not creative for me, okay? Or I can say show channels for tracks with data between locators. So in this case, it will be this section. And there's a shortcut for this as well. So, boom. There we go. This thing has saved me so much time when I'm mixing. I mix every day, and I cannot thank the guys that programmed this enough. Reason number 9 is the zones function. And this is very similar to the agents. I'm going to go show all channels here, and I'm going to show you how it works. It's actually right here. This is the visibility tab. And as you can see, I can just hide channels like this. Very, very easily, by the way. Done. The other great thing that you have here, you know, you have channel and you have zones. So zones is extremely useful because you can say, I want to keep my reference track always to the right and my stereo bus always to the right. Or maybe I also want to have my drums bus and maybe my synth bus also to the right. So no matter how I scroll, check it out. They always stay there. They're docked. Reason number 10 is you can create buses and effects channels or sends, whatever you want to call them, super quickly in one click. Let's say we get these channels and we want to put them into a bus. On most systems, you have to create a bus, send them to the bus, and then name the bus, and you make sure it's stereo, and blah, 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 blah. And then you have to remember which bus goes where and all these things. Check how you do it in Cubase. You go like this, you select your channels, right click, and then you say add group channel to selected channels. Now, not only it gives me this, I can do everything in one go. I can say it's going to be stereo, and this is going to be a group called guitars. Boom. Done. Everything is routed correctly. I don't have to remember what bus I sent this to. If I want to send, let's say, these guys to reverb send, again, I can, of course, I have shortcuts for all these things, but if you don't have shortcuts, it's still easy. Add effects channel to selected channels, boom. Add a reverb, let's call it synth reverb, boom. Everything is done. It's routed correctly. If you go to our sends, see, they're all routed correctly to this reverb, and I can select how much. And of course, I can select all of them, click Alt-Shift, I can send them to the reverb in the amount that I want straight away, all of them. And speaking of sends, reason number 11 is the very clean representation of the send effects. Look at those. When you go around your project and you navigate like this, here are the sends. I cannot stress how important that is. I can see it very easily without having to go, okay, where is this dial? Is it like there or right there? I don't know. Let's go and add a magnification glass. No, I can see exactly what goes where. I can see that this channel has no sense. It's going like this. Let's add a little bit of send right there. Or these toms, maybe I want to add some reverb to these toms. Straight away, no cryptic icons. You don't have to wear like your glasses in order to see all these things. Very, very easily you can do all these things. If I want to have more precision, I can zoom into the mixer and I can just very, 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 very finely tweak my level for my send. Number 12 is the Q sense. And again, that's a massively useful feature when you're tracking mainly. Sometimes you have several musicians and you're tracking them and you want them to give you the best performance, so you want to give them a great mix that works for them. So in this case, what Cubase does is you have your Q sense. So maybe I have a singer and you know, he or she wants me to send them a little bit of drums, so I can find my drums here. Now, normally on another DAW, you would have to create a send channel and send every channel to the musician at a specific level and route it to a separate bus and all these things. Now, in Cubase, the Q sends are so much easier to use. They are designed to do exactly that. So let's say I want to have a starting point for my artist. I want to select all my channels and say, okay, let's activate the Q for my artist. And of course, now I can send all of them at unity gain, Alt Shift, you know, and I can go like this. But what I can also do is go here to this functions menu and go to my control room Q sense. And what I can do is I can say, use current mix levels. And what this will do, check it out. I'm just going to click it. Boom. And now the mix that I have for me as an engineer is copied exactly to the headphone mix for my artist. I don't even have to worry about it. Now, if I also want to give them the panning, I can go again like this, and I can say use current pan settings. And check this out. Boom. Done. Immediately, in one click. Number 13 is the mix history. Basically, whatever you do in the mixer, you can undo it. Okay? So for example, let's say I want to grab this Valhalla reverb. See, here is my mix history, and I can go and do things, and you will see that all these actions that I'm doing are added to my mix console history. Even this, even my Valhalla room, settings, third-party plugins, it doesn't matter. Let's say I want to add a Neve. Let's say I want to add a Portico here on this channel. This is also added. If I want to go back, boom, 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 I go back. Number 14 is the snapshots. Extremely useful feature if you want to try out different mixes and you want to have different versions and see which one works better for you. Snapshots are also found right here. So for example, I saved one snapshot here, which is mix number 1. Let's say I do some changes. Let me grab this again like that. Do some changes. And now I can go ahead and save another snapshot. And maybe this snapshot is mix number 2. Now, this is different to saving a separate version of your project. This is all inside the same project. So if I want to go to mix number 1, and activate it, boom, I have my first mix. If I go to mix number 2, I have another mix. So I can check different mixes very, very quickly. Reason 15 is the search facilities that we have. So let's say you are in a project like this that has quite a few channels. How do you find a channel very quickly? You go here, boom, and let's say I want to find my bass. And I can find my bass. Let's say I want to find my kick. Boom, selecting. Let's say I want to find my OB6 synth. Okay, here I have quite a few. Let's go for the intro melody. Boom, selected. That's it. Amazing. Number 16 is the incredibly easy and flexible sidechain that you can do in Cubase. Let's say you want to sidechain your bass to your kick drum. Now, if I want to sidechain this to my kick drum, let's say, the only thing I need to do is I'm going to add a compressor. Okay, I'm going to add the Cubase stock compressor. Now, if you want to sidechain, you activate the sidechain button and then you click on this and then you go add sidechain input. Again, you don't need to search. Let's find kick. Okay, kick drum, boom. And now we're getting the sidechain from my kick drum. So let's say I want to sidechain at 0 dB, as loud as possible. Done. Let's say you have 2 kick drums. You can go ahead and add another sidechain input. For example, let's gonna find a snare. I'm going to sidechain with a snare as well. Okay, boom. There we go. 0, done. Now I'm sidechaining this bass to the kick drum and the snare with 0 effort. Everything was in one window. It's super quick. I can even click E here and go straight to the channel that we're sidechaining from. Bliss. I mean, Cubase was a little bit slow to get this cool sidechain feature. It was really hard to do sidechain in Cubase, but now the sidechain feature rocks big time. Reason 17 is the combined panner. And this is one of those things that, you know, some DAW they have it, some DAW they don't. Cubase does it in a very easy way. Now this is a standard panner. If you want to activate the combined panner, you go like this. As you can see, there's an icon here. And now we have a combined panner. Now this what allows you to do, not only it allows you to pan left and right, but it allows you to narrow the stereo image of that specific channel. So for example, I can have the left channel panned to the right and the right channel panned to the left. Or maybe I can make it narrow and move it across, see? Like that. So I'm going with my mouse up and down with the wheel, and see, I can place this instrument exactly where I want on the stereo field. Now this is very important, especially if you're mixing orchestral music and you want to have the violins and you want to make them a little bit narrow and move them in the stereo field. I mean, film composers, they use this feature a lot because it allows you to place something in the stereo field very easily and narrow or widen the stereo field. Reason 18 is that the Cubase mixer is a great educational tool. The reason why is that it works pretty much like a traditional mixer. So if you're trying to learn how to mix and how a real mix console works, the Cubase console is a great virtual mixer that works like a real console. You have the pre-gain section, then you have your EQs, then you have your channel strip. The signal flow is very clear and structured. You might argue that this might not be relevant anymore these days, but in my opinion, it's very relevant because if you're a producer, at some point you might end up going into a nice recording studio and you might want to record your album there. And you probably won't want to rely on another engineer to do everything for you. So if you're starting out and you're like 15 years old, 18 years old, and you want to start understanding how a console works, Cubase will give you a great understanding. Some other DAWs, they have a less traditional way of routing things and you have no idea how this is done. You just know that you click there and it kind of works, but you have no idea what's going on behind the scenes. In Cubase, you can actually see the signal flow and how it works. So I think this is really important, and that's why I love teaching mixing in Cubase, because it works like that. Reason 19 is the super quick bypass of plugins. Let's say, for example, that I want to listen to this mix without any inserts. Now, all you need to do is go to this icon right here, alt-click, and boom, all my inserts are gone. Let's say I want to listen without any EQ. Boom, all my EQs are gone. Let's say I want to listen to my mix without any sound effects. Boom, no sound effects. And reason number 20, it sounds great. I know there's a massive debate about whether a DAW has a sound or not. I'm not going to go into that debate today, but basically what I want to tell you is that the Cubase Mix Console has pristine audio quality. It's 64-bit precision. And one thing that I want to say is that you can push it and it doesn't sound bad. I won't go deeper into this, but download different programs, different DAWs, and try and push the mixer, the master out. See what happens. See what happens. Cubase is really clean. You can push things really loud, and actually there are quite a few tricks that you can do with mastering to make your track sound super loud that I found sometimes only work in Cubase. So there you go, guys. These are my 20 reasons why I personally believe that Cubase Mix Console is the best mixer in a DAW out there. Now, in the comments down below, I want to hear your reasons why you like the mix console in Cubase, or if you're using another DAW, let me know in the comments what is that feature on your DAW that you love and you can't live without. I'm also wondering how many of these things you already knew. I'm pretty sure that you knew quite a few of them, but in my opinion, sometimes I just forget. So thanks so much for joining me for another video, guys. I had lots of fun making this video because I love this thing. I just love it. You probably know it by now. I'm completely honest with you. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, a thumbs down if you hate me because you use another DAW. I'm joking, please don't do that, okay? And if you're new here, I would really like to see you back, so don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And not only that, hit also that bell notification icon because it's really important. Until next time, have fun mixing, guys. I'll see you in the next one.